Hi, this is Monique Hall. Back again, continuing on with the story of how I survived 3 successive heart attacks. In this segment, I think I am going to talk about everything that Chris talked about in the last episode, but from my perspective. Um, as I mentioned in the first episode, after I told him I was scared, everything went black for me. Um, the next images I can recall were an outer body experience. I don't know how else to put it. I'll try and be concise with this, but initially there was just black space, no real spatial depth or anything. I guess scientists and doctors would say I was having some neural synapses firing off because I remember images from everyday life, being at a light in an intersection that aggravated me. Makes no sense. But anyway, I saw those images, and then I remember just having the awareness that I had died. I knew that I had died, and there was a presence there with me, and I knew it was God. And I remember being calm but sad, that all my fears had caught up with me, and my life was maybe not over, but hanging in the balance. I remember searching my soul and saying that I was ready. But it occurred to me that I had a miracle child. He was not supposed to be my child. We had doctors telling us every which way but Sunday that he wasn't going to happen, and he did. And I attribute that as one of the many blessings and gifts that God presented me with. And knowing that, I said that I was ready, but I had really wanted to and thought that it was his plan to help Grayson grow up. And this whole time there was a glow, and the glow bright. This connection that I have to explain in future episodes that I have always felt has guided me. And it's the Lord speaking to me, and I interpret it, and I try to interpret it properly. I feel like I ignored him for many years, and that's why I was in this situation. So once there was the bright glow, I asked him, was it okay for me to go back? And the glow seemed to respond to the affirmative. And at that point, I knew I was going to have to fight to prove to everybody on the outside that I was still there, that I was alive, and I was trying to come back, for them not to let me die. Not knowing that Chris had been given all sorts of information by doctors, um, and they asked, since I didn't have an advance directive, what his wishes were, and I can't remember if he said it in the last piece, but he's told me that he wanted them to do everything in their power to save me. I have been his best friend, his wife, the mother of his child. So they did, and I guess this episode is just speaking to the power of God and the influence in my life, and how my experience reflects his power in the fact that he is truly there. He moved through that ER and ICU. My cardiologist, Dr. Azimi, my stats looked so bad. He wasn't going to work on me. And I mean, he said out of his own mouth, but from a professional standpoint, it wasn't advantageous for him to. My heart was beating at like 5%, and it kept failing. He walked past Chris and Grayson, who were just outside of that room, every time Code Blue was called. Every time the staff ran past, hurriedly and working feverishly to try and bring me back. My baby was sitting right over there experiencing all of it. And Dr. Azimi walked past, and he saw Grayson, and I'm assuming he was an approximate size to his son. He said, I have at the time, a 7 or 8-year-old, and he looked at Grayson looking so lost and scared, and something spoke to him and said that he needed to help me. So him, sorry for the poor grammar, but the team of doctors and they worked together and devised a plan and installed, I don't feel like a car with its hood up, but they installed 2 stents in my artery. And the funny thing is, I remember, maybe it was a little while after when they were doing checks, but I remember them discussing the technique and Dr. Zimi giving his criticism of it and just his assessment. And I remember being a part of it, but not being a part of it. I was not conscious. I was not aware. I mean, I could not convey through my body at all whatsoever that I was fighting. There was even a point where, as I was coming back, and I'll talk about the experiences while I was trapped in my head next episode, but the doctor, or the nurses rather, checked my eyes to see if my pupils had changed, if they had, how I was progressing or not, because they still had a very grim outlook on my status at the time. I was looking right back at them, and I thought I was making my eyes move side to side so that they could see that I was alert and that I was trying. But when I asked Chris later, he just said it was like a dead stare back, that my eyes didn't show any signs of being responsive. So I jumped ahead a little bit to summarize and say that when a loved one or a patient is laying there and they can't communicate with you, when you are speaking with them, I can guarantee that they hear you and that they're fighting, but sometimes it's not enough. In my instance, I firmly believe God willed it to be so, but the fight was up to me after He put everything in place, and I can tell you that fight was, I never ever want to be put in a position like that again, and that will explain a lot of the future episodes when I talk about all of the trauma and the PTSD that comes along with experiences like this. But for now, I need to draw this episode to a close, and just please keep an eye out for the next one, because I will continue. There's a heck of a lot more to this story than the few episodes that I've already shared. And again, I do pray that this helps my story, if it can help other people or better family members, or have gone through this and just need to hear another voice. I'm here. Thank you for your time. Bye-bye.